Please, if everyone could give Mr. Steve Rice a huge round of applause. There you go, Steve. Thank you very much. Okay, so Steve, that's your camera. Okay, this is my one.
It's called leverage, Rob.
Yes. So Steve likes to leverage me as his mentor, and actually we have two levels of mentorship on the VIP program. There's the Rob and Mark level. We're sold out now, I'm afraid, until October, I believe, and we're a little bit more money. And then there's the gold level. And first of all, Steve, why did you choose the Rob and Mark level? Why did you want to go for, the slightly higher level?
My circumstances, still for the next 3 weeks, I'm in a very well-paid position. I've been with the company 19 years, involved in commercial refurbishments. I've headed up about £250 million worth over the last 19 years with my employer. So I'm in a very, very privileged position with my job. So in order to replace that, I need to be working hard and getting the best advice that I can possibly get from the community. And for me, there was only one decision really, and that was to go with yourselves and Mark. I've actually followed your journey for probably 8 or 10 years, from dealing with ex-local authority stock in Peterborough to where you guys are today.
Sure.
I watched it from afar and thought, I'd like a piece of that.
Okay.
And here I am.
Great. Thank you, Steve. So I think a lot of people who've got a good job sometimes find it more difficult to transition. Because I remember when I started, I had no money, I was in a lot of debt. And yeah, that was bad, I got myself in a bad position, but in a way I didn't have anything to lose. If you've got a really good salary, you've got a lot to lose and a lot to kind of walk away from. Have you found that a challenge? Ultimately you've got to replace more money than I had to when I started.
Absolutely, very much so. In my early days, so let me just talk you through my progressive journey quickly, if I may. I started off reading your books on holiday about 18 months ago, after having kept an eye on you from afar. Went to MSOPI in January 2014, and on MSOPI I met a couple that most people in the room here will know, Paul and Aniko Smith. Exchanged just a few words, just had a chat with them. They felt they were in a cul-de-sac at the time, and they were looking, they had training through various other providers, and they were looking for a way ahead. So I went to MSOPI, enjoyed it, signed up for a couple of courses, but was very, very busy in my day job. I then, fast forward 6 or 9 months, I had attended no progressive property courses by then, and Paul and Aniko were the newcomers of the year, and were, I think, clearing 20,000 a month. That was a dough moment for me, net. That was a moment for me where I thought, what am I doing? I really need to get a piece of this. So I then came to the masterclass back into last year. You offered us the VIP, and I took it, and I then gave my notice in December of last year, and I'm working at a 7-month notice period. Because I've been with the company so long, I felt that I owed a debt to them about leaving on the right terms and what have you.
Sure.
But for me, it was went to Cayman Legacy. I'm not sure how much we're going to touch on that tonight, but again, that is something that some of the VIP members have access to. Yeah. And I'll admit it, I was nervous once I first handed in my notice in December last year, worrying about, could I do it? A little bit of lack of faith in myself, but I guess it's natural. But when we went to Cayman, that really when it all fell into place for me. It was what I'd been doing almost as like a lifestyle hobby for the last 10 years in property, dabbling with it. Yeah. I got the validation from yourself and from the other guys there that what I had was scalable, and it was a business. And from that, I had the faith that I could do it. So I've stopped worrying about whether I can and put into action all the things that pick up from yourself and Mark and the rest of the community.
Okay. So how long have you been on VIP?
Since February.
February, so 4 months. Yeah. So you'll have other stories of people been on VIP longer. I want to give you a good flavour. So what have you done in 4 months?
Wow. What have I done? I initially had a single JV partner. I've now got 3 with a further 2 that we're in discussions about, real deals that are on the table. Yeah. Things that are in planning or what have you that we're looking to sign up later in the year. Sure.
Is it okay to say roughly how much money you think you've raised or you have raised?
Oh, goodness, 7 figures. I mean, it depends. There'll always be an attrition rate and some of them won't come through, but
So how much will stick, do you reckon, if you had to?
Right, so let's go through them. There's probably gross values of the projects with little, if any, of my money in. It's got to be 4 million, I guess. Okay. Yeah, 4 million. And new things are happening all the time. In fact, I'm JVing with Progressive later on this year in October.
Yeah.
So we're looking to go overseas for the first time, for the first overseas PPN in Dublin in October.
Sure.
So that's something that, this time last year was nowhere near on my radar of
Sure.
doing.
Have you got any properties that you own? You own any?
So do I own properties? Yeah, I own about, buying and selling all the time, but 14, 15 at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the net cash flow of those?
The net cash flow, I do a lot of HMOs, some buy-to-lets, and I do flips as well.
Yeah.
So the net cash flow of our portfolio on the HMOs and buy-to-let is in six figures.
Yeah.
And there's a further six figures coming through, and there's a pipeline of that for the flips and developments that we do as well.
Okay.
So it's replacing what
Sure.
I was earning, or have been earning for the last 19 years, yeah.
Okay, so some people might think, well, it sounded like you had a lot of experience in your career in doing property.
Yeah.
So, your fast results, you would get those because you've had that experience. Is that fair to say?
I work with a lot of other people in doing what I do, and not many, if any of them, are doing the property thing. So it's
what you're
easy to
saying
say.
is you're doing it and they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say, and possibly there are some advantages, but I think any process-driven job that you're in will help you in what we do.
Sure.
If you're process-driven, you're a people person, then you're a lot of the way there.
Okay. So you've raised millions of pounds worth of JVs. Can you give us any tips on how you've done it?
Okay.
When we say JVs, JV finance for deals.
For sure, yeah. Okay, two of my JV partners I've known for 10, 12 years maybe. I didn't approach them for JV finance. We just used to chat generally about property and what have you. And in fact, both of them approached me in terms of doing things together. So I would be willing to bet that a lot of people in the room here, there are people they already know and have already been dealing with, not necessarily in the property forum, but have been dealing with other things in their career or what have you,
Sure.
that would be willing to work with you on a JV. I have other people that I've worked with over the last 15 years who approach me all the time now about JVing in one form or another. So, yeah.
Sure, so I can see Ian and Ian nodding. And I think if you would like to a takeaway so far from what Steve said, a lot of people think they don't know anyone. There will be people you already know who are watching you. Of course, they're not going to tell you in the first minutes, oh, you just did a property course, I got £1 million in the bank. They're going to watch you and see how you get on. And if you always let everyone know what you do, so I'm sure Steve's telling people now he's a professional property investor rather than what he did before, then the money flows. In fact, we're going to have at least 2 and there may be 3 other people saying exactly the same thing. Fast forward a year, Steve, and give us top line but pessimistic results where you think you'll be.
Oh, goodness, pessimistic.
Yeah. You don't do that, do you?
No, not really. Okay, it will be... So I think we set targets for ourselves of 15,000 net income, and that was my target for spring 2017, I believe. If I don't get to that in half that time, I'd be surprised. Something will have gone wrong.
Sure.
I'll practically have to move backwards.
Yeah.
So that would give you an idea of the sort of levels that
Sure.
we're looking at. Yeah.
Okay. Great, thank you, Steve. So I'd love to take a couple of questions for Steve. So Steve's been on VIP 4 months. He's raised millions of pounds worth of JVs. He's got 14 properties doing big commercial deals. I don't know how long you've been on VIP. If you compare that to your results, has anyone got anything you'd like to ask Steve?
Be gentle. It could be you up here next, you see, and I'll be in the crowd.
Could we bring the microphone to Glenn, please, Naomi, at the front? Glenn, am I interviewing you? I hope so. Yes, you're next.
Steve,
Hi, Glenn.
what was that thing that pushed you over the edge to give in your notice?
I can't say there's only one thing, to be honest. It was a combination of things. Ever since I was 16, I've had an interest in property. I used to labour for my uncle's building company. We were doing up houses in Chelsea at the time. And I always wanted to work for myself, always wanted to do it. So I guess for me, it's a natural stage of life. I'm now in my early to mid-40s. I sound like David Brent, yeah. I'll be 44 in a couple of weeks' time. So it's a natural progression for me, I think. I've been in my current job for 19 years. I think it was just time, you know. I'll be perfectly honest, you know, it was a company I loved, spent a lot of time with them, but my time had come for us to part ways on very, very good terms as well. So.
And what advice would you give to anyone watching or in the room who's got a good career and they look at all of the people like me who were skint years ago and go, well, it's all right for you because you had nothing to lose and I've got family, mortgages, expensive house, cars.
Sure. I mean, I can't decide for them whether it's the best thing for them to do, but what I can absolutely guarantee you is that it can work. It can work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So they have to make their own decisions,
sure.
But ultimately, you know, there's people here are proof that it does work, and I'm loving it.
Sure. All right. Please give Steve a huge round of applause. Thank you, Steve.